Warm welcome to Disky Talk with Leon. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. In the league, they've played 21, they've won 9, they've drawn 4, and they've lost 8. They currently do sit on 31 points. With regards to the amount of goals they've scored, so they've scored 21 goals, they've conceded 16, and they currently have a goal difference of 5. So that is Orlando Pirates then with regards to the numbers and how they've fared out this season. However, when we do have a look at them then from a structural perspective, when Orlando Pirates started the season, they did start then with a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-3. That was what they looked like with regards to their shape and with regards to how then they were trying to impose themselves. So that is what Orlando Pirates started the season like. So from a defensive perspective then and from a tactical perspective, they were very organized and they were very disciplined, and they wouldn't concede too many chances against them. Hence why then they've got such a very good defensive record. They actually are the 4th best defensive team within the league after Mamelodi Sundowns, TS Galaxy and Richards Bay as well. So when you do have a look at it then, they were doing well from that regard, but within then the final third, they were really struggling because then they had compromised the final third because of looking to be so defensively solid, and they were also then looking then to hurt teams then in transition. So they were a team then that were winning games with less ball possession. Whenever then they did have more ball possession, then they would either draw or they wouldn't win the game. That was happening for a short period with this Orlando Pirates side, and it did look like they were becoming then a counter-attacking team with regards to how they were looking to impose themselves. But we did see then a change with regards to the shape. So we did see them then go to a 4 because them playing with an extra defender was really compromising the final third. So we did see them go then to a 4-2-3-1. As we saw the structural change, we also did see them then bring in striking coach Chickelday, who did then assist them within their fortunes of being able to score a lot more goals. So there was immediate improvement then with regards to their finishing and their goals as well. So when you do have a look at this Orlando Pirates side currently, they do then play a 4-2-3-1. So as of late, we have seen China has been playing in goals for this Orlando Pirates side. And what he's brought for this Orlando Pirates side is that he's enabled them then to build up from very deep, because we do see that Orlando Pirates are looking then to build up from very deep. They are looking then to dominate ball possession from that perspective. So when you are looking then to build up from deep and dominate ball possession, it does become very key then that you've got a goalkeeper then who does enable you that ability. And when you do have a look at him then, it does ensure that whenever Orlando Pirates are in possession, they've got 11 men versus the opposition 10, because the opposition goalkeeper will never join in to press. He's going to stay in his line or stay rather than within his area. So with China then, he has offered them that option then within build-up phase. We have also seen that sometimes when they do build up, that their centre-back would be looking to pass it to China, and then they'd be looking to progress from there. A lot of people then would ask themselves, why would they do this? Because naturally, what you would see is a goalkeeper passing to centre-back, and then they'd be looking to play. So why teams do this then, especially against a very aggressive pressing scheme? They do this then to try and disorientate the pressing team. So what they would do then is ensure that one of the centre-backs would start the goalkeeper and then pass it to the goalkeeper. So when the ball then is passed to the goalkeeper, what you would see then a lot of times is strikers wouldn't always be willing then to press the goalkeeper, because once they look to press the goalkeeper, then they've eliminated themselves from the press, and it becomes easy then for them to play out, and Pirates would have an extra man. So when you do have a look at how teams would look to press with regards to their pressing schemes, so what teams do that are looking to press, they would divide the field into 2 from a vertical perspective. So you got that one side, you got that one side. So from a pressing team's perspective, we're going that way, so it'd be the right side and it'd be the left side. So what a team would do then is, naturally, the ball would be played to a goalkeeper. the ball would be played from a goalkeeper to, let's say, the left-sided centre-back. What a team does with a very aggressive pressing scheme is that they would have a striker looking then to immediately cut off that passing lane back into the goalkeeper and force them to build up on this side, where then the opposition can go man-to-man on this side. Or when they do go man-to-man, what would either happen is that this centre-back would normally go long because then there isn't an option available, or if they do look for that pass into there, because it is man-to-man and the pressing team have already forced them to one side, they've already prepared that we'll be pressing them on the right-hand side, which is their left, then they can look to win that ball back. But when you then have a centre-back which passes the ball to a goalkeeper, that gives more control and initiative with regards then to the build-up play, because then teams don't normally go and press that goalkeeper, especially when the ball is central, because then you don't know which side will the team look to facilitate their build-up. Yes, it is a trick. It is a minor trick that teams that are obsessed with dominating possession and looking to build up deep, it is a trick that they would use to be able to disorientate the press. And when you look to then disorientate the press and build up from deep, it does become important then that you are able to open up one or two angles or passing lanes then which the opposition don't really expect. So that's what they would do. So we would see China even coming as far out of his box and looking then to ensure that they can facilitate that three-man build-up. Because what a lot of teams do then, when they do want to build up with a three-man build-up, what you would see is that the defensive midfielder would drop into there. So then you'd have one less body further up the pitch. But because they're looking to dominate possession, that's what you would see. But moving on then right along, you do have Koki, you do have Sibisi. We do know that they do have other options within the centre-back department. But when you do have a look at Nda, he has been missing through injury as he's been out for quite some time. There is Mtato as well, who can also play as a centre-back. You also have Mayala, who's also had to play as the left-sided centre-back because they have had a couple of injuries in that department. But when you do have a look at it then from a centre-back perspective, Sibisi has been quite key for this Orlando Pirates side with regards to how dominant he is from a defensive perspective. So that is aerially. Also then when it comes to his ground jewels, player then who is very comfortable on the ball with regards to looking to build up. When you then have a look at set pieces from an offensive perspective, he does offer quality and value within the opposition box because he has scored a goal and he is a threat then when it comes then to those offensive set pieces. And also then a leader himself, he is able then to marshal that Orlando Pirates backline very well. At left back, they've had Marco, and then you also have Mayela, but you have had Mayela who plays a lot more frequently than Marco at left back. At right back, you do have Shandu, you do have Monyan as well as the options. Within the heart of midfield, you have had predominantly Tim and Ndlondo within the heart of midfield, which then they become key with regards to consolidation phase and also then with regards to Orlando Pirates build-up scheme, because then they'd obviously be looking to get involved in that area, look to take the ball, progress it into consolidation phase, into their more creative player, and also then when it comes to being able then to play some of those diagonal balls when they are looking then to stretch play. When you move on then right along, we've had Hoto come off the left, you've had Dlamini, and then you've had Saleng. But we did see Pule start against Kaizer Chiefs, and we have seen him make a return through various cameos. And then you've also had Lodge, who's also made a return. But when you do have a look at Saleng, this has been Orlando Pirates' best player this season, especially when you look at his goals and his assists as well. Very key player for this Orlando Pirates side with regards to what he offers. So he does tend to offer half space occupation with regards to where he'd be looking then to manipulate the ball and the impact that he's looking to make. Also then within this right wide channel. So where he has occupied the most space has been within this right wide channel because he does play as an inverted winger, so he is left footed. He does start in that wide right channel, and he does then look to drift into that half space. Also then a player then who is quite adept with regards to offering that movement laterally in between the lines, because he is a player who is improving in that regard with regards to offering that creativity in between the lines and offering then that half space occupation. So this is the area where he does a lot of his work, and a player then who is quite aggressive and responsible when it comes to set pieces, especially considering the technique that he uses as well and how he's able to whip that ball in. So he's been quite key then for Orlando Pirates. He's been their best player. So I'd say Saleng and Sibisi have been the key players for this Orlando Pirates side. Up front, you have had Erasmus. There's also been Zukamanja as well. So when you do have a look at this Orlando Pirates side with regards to how they look to build up, so like I mentioned, deep build up where China is involved, and then you'd have the fullbacks in those wide areas, and then you'd have the two there with Ndlondlo and Tim, and then you'd have the number 10 looking then to roam in between the lines. That's where you'd have him, and then you'd have a lot of the times you'd have Hoto there looking to stretch the pitch, looking to offer that width, and then you'd have Saleng. But like I did mention with Saleng, sometimes he does look to drift in, which then can allow the fullback to go higher up on the right-hand side. So that is pretty much what they've looked like with regards to how then they'd be looking then to build up and work the ball then into consolidation. When you then have a look at their offensive scheme and what shape do they take up. So when you do have a look at this Orlando Pirates side, say for example, the ball would be on the left-hand side. So what you would see then, let's just get those numbers in. So what you would see from them then sometimes is that, okay, Saleng would be looking to occupy that space. And then on the right-hand side, you could have sort of the fullback looking to offer that width. And then let's push that midfielder in there. And then, so sometimes what you could have from them is sort of this 3-2-5 offensive scheme shape with regards to how offensive they become in the opposition half, and when they're looking to pin the opposition back. Sometimes what you would see from them then is that you could even see sort of that where then it can become sort of a 2-2-6, where then you still have both midfielders deep in there, where you'd have Ndlondlo and you have Tim in front of the two centre backs. So that would mean then that they've got 4 players behind the ball. So then that would ensure that their rest defense always has at least 4 players behind the ball when they are in this type of offensive scheme. But then if you do have Marco, for example, if he is inverted or if he is in that deeper pocket of space behind the ball, that would mean then that their rest defense has 5 players behind the ball. So that's what Orlando Pirates then would look like with regards to their offensive scheme and with regards to their rest defense as well. Then set pieces. So when you do have a look at them with regards to their set pieces, like I did mention, Saleng has been quite key in set pieces because of how he whips them. He does share the responsibility with Ndlondlo as well. So they do have different variations with regards to in-swingers and out-swingers when it comes to set pieces. But like I did mention, Saleng then being the more effective and more dangerous from set piece situations. So that is Orlando Pirates then with regards to what they look like in possession and what their offensive scheme looks like when they do find themselves then deep in opposition half and having pinned them back. So the big question then becomes, what do they look like out of possession? So out of possession then, when you do have a look at this Orlando Pirates side, it does become a very compact 4-2-3-1 block, and this is what has helped them become then one of the better defensive sides then within the DStv Premiership. How then they're able to manage space laterally and vertically, and how compact they can stay. So they look to stay very compact, and when they look to stay this compact within their mid block and sometimes low block, it becomes very difficult for the opposition to play through them and break them down. And also then within this position and within their low block and their mid block, they're also quite a threat when it comes then to those offensive transitions and being able to hit teams successfully on the counter attack by virtue of the type of players that they have, especially when you look at Hoto, you look at Saleng, you look at Pule, you look at Zukamanja, you look at Loch, you look at Monyane or Shandu at right back. These are players then who have a lot of speed and cause a lot of threat on the break, especially considering then that opposition sometimes would find themselves high up and they'd find themselves further within Orlando Pirates territory. So that is what Orlando Pirates would look like out of possession. Sometimes it does become a 4-4-2 block when the number 10 would join. That's how they'd even press sometimes. So sometimes they'd be looking to press with 1. Sometimes they could even press with 2. It boils down then to how the opposition look to build up, and it also boils down then to how the opposition look to set up. So it's always in relation to opposition. So it isn't fixated with regards to their pressing schemes and their block as well. So sometimes it can be a 4-2-3-1, sometimes it can be a 4-4-2 defensive block. So that is Orlando Pirates then with regards to how they look to go about things out of possession. So when you do have a look then overall at Orlando Pirates, and you have a look at the things that they've done really well. So what Orlando Pirates have done really well then is out of possession, they've been very compact, like I just did mention. Defensively, very, very strong. They've been tactically sound, and a team then that is able to manage the space laterally and vertically, being able to ensure that opposition can't break them down. With regards to another strength, the speed that they have when it comes to those offensive transitions and being able then to hit teams successfully on the counter-attack. Also, when you have a look at their offensive set pieces, they're quite a threat in that regard, especially then when you look at the delivery and you have a look at the players then who would occupy the opposition box, being able then to ensure that they can get their head onto the ball. And also then qualitative superiority. They have been able then to bring back Lorch and Pule. So when you have a look at these two players alongside Saleng, when you have a look at those three players, they could be quite deadly with regards to what they can do when they are looking then to create goals and score goals as well. So if they can finish off the season, the three of them fully fit, I think that they could put Orlando Pirates into a very good position with regards to trying then to finish in that second spot for the CAF Champions League, and also then when looking to compete for that Nedbank Cup. We do know that early on in the season, they did win the MTN 8 as well. So those are the things then that Orlando Pirates have done well. Areas where I think that they need to improve in. So when you have a look at Orlando Pirates, as much as they are very good then when it comes then to their set pieces, and that defensively they've been very compact. But an area where they sometimes struggle in is when they've got a set piece. So when they've got an offensive set piece and they've committed numbers forward and they aren't able then to get a shot on target from that set piece, when that ball breaks, sometimes they find themselves conceding an opportunity at their end. So within a period of 10 to 15 seconds, they go from being able to actually convert the set piece to then conceding an opportunity. So their rest defense in open play is very good because of how organized it is. But their rest defense, when it comes to their own set pieces, that is where then I think they need to improve in. Also, when it comes then to crosses, I feel like they need to improve when it comes to dealing with crosses. So dealing with crosses, dealing with set pieces as well, they do look quite vulnerable when it comes to defending in that regard. And also then finishing. So as much as, yes, they have improved their fortunes and they have improved their finishing, but they currently average a goal a game because they've scored 21 in 21 games. I do think that with the type of players they have and the personnel that they have, they can look to score a lot more goals. And I think another area where they really need to improve in is being able then to break down a compact block. So they struggle then to break down low blocks and a compact block. So as much as they can build up from deep and they do have passages of play where they keep the ball well, but then they struggle then to ensure that that possession can create clear-cut chances for them consistently. So that is also another area that they need to improve in. Overall then, Orlando Pirates do sit third and they do have a chance to actually compete for that second spot, but it will be very difficult because SuperSport United currently occupy that spot with 5 points ahead. And also then when you consider how experienced and how strong that SuperSport side is, with the experience that comes from the technical team and Coach Gavin Hunt, and then how strong that side is when it comes to the talent that they have. Within the Nedbank Cup, they do have a good chance to actually then advance and look then to compete for that cup. Overall then, that is Orlando Pirates with regards to how the season has progressed, where they currently find themselves right now. And like I said, I do think that Sibisi and Saleng have been standout performers for this Orlando Pirates side, especially Saleng. At home, do let me know, what do you make of Orlando Pirates season thus far? And where do you think Orlando Pirates will finish within the league? And do you think that they can go on then and do the domestic cup double with regards to them being able to go on and win the Nedbank Cup final? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Liolo. Signing out.